In the last several years, we've seen some strange genetically modified organisms. Pigs that glow in the dark, chickens that grow without feathers, and even goats that produce spider silk proteins. But what really gets people riled up are genetically modified foods. The prospect of eating somebody's science project turns the stomach of those who aspire to eat so-called whole or natural foods. But what exactly does genetically modified mean anyways? And how are those foods created? To answer these questions, we need to go back in time about 10,000 years. That's when people first started domesticating animals and cultivating plants for food. By picking organisms with desirable traits and mating them together over and over again, people were able to mold species to meet their dietary needs. The classic example is corn, which started out as a tropical grass called teosinte, with small, nearly inedible kernels. Over thousands of years, ancient farmers in Mexico transformed the grass into the delicious, starchy treat we like to eat today. We now know those ancient farmers were manipulating the DNA of the teosinte plant. As few as 5 changes to its genome, the long strands of DNA that encode for proteins, create the dramatic differences we see between teosinte and corn. Scientists call this process artificial selection, and it's made all kinds of unappetizing plants edible, from wheat to rice to almonds and bananas.
In the cowshed, the man in charge of the beef herd is Patrice Lobe.
He's a big fellow. Am I all right?
He's quite big, huh? He's 160 meter tall, yeah.
If I saw a man like that,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't get this close to him, I don't think. I would think he was on steroids or something. I think he
No.
was a bodybuilder.
It is 100% natural, whereby, let's say, within so many generations, all breeders have taken the best of the best, or the more muscle of the more muscle. We moved from a normal classical type of animal, and then we select that sort of animal based on the double muscle.
And when you say double muscles,
Yeah.
do you mean it has 2 of every muscle?
No.
Because it looks like it does
Absolutely.
in almost,
It has exactly the same type of muscle than any other breed, except that in terms of quantity, each of these muscles is by far more developed.
Right. This cow is technically known as a Belgian Blue, and it's the product of selective breeding.
Selective breeding is the first stop on our tour of how man is using science to control nature. It's used by farmers to enhance desirable characteristics in their animals. In fact, selective breeding is all about managing sex. To create these Belgian Blues, over 100 years, farmers have only allowed the cows and bulls with the greatest muscle mass to mate. And the result is a bull that weighs over a ton. The animal's breeders are keen to show off the results of their hard work. The bulls are shaved to best display their muscles.
What they try to do is to clip the animals in order to highlight all the muscle. You see?
Well, so you can see where all the meat is. That's going to be-
Exactly.
But even here, where they've sort of trimmed in there.
Yeah, to highlight that muscle, which has got a high value. You see?
And these are all going to be lean cuts, and they're all for quick cooking, are they?
That's right. That's right.
Because when you look at this, you can't help thinking of lunch, you know? Is it healthy?
The animal, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, the animal is as healthy as another intensive producing animal.
So this is about the most technological that meat can get.
Not the most technological. In terms of technology, we talk about selection, natural selection, having achieved that.
So what is the science behind the Belgian Blues? There is a gene that regulates the growth of muscles in cattle. These cows have been selectively bred from animals that contain a copy of this gene which doesn't work. As a result, their muscles grow far larger than normal.
So precise is the technology involved, they can analyse the semen sperm by sperm to choose the ones they want. So this is What, this is testing the sperm count?
That's a sperm analyzer. It's now checking, let's say, the quality of the sperm we have been collecting this morning. Green is good because you see that they are very, very mobile and they are looking forward to move towards the eggs.
And these are not especially muscly sperm?
Don't you find that they are very muscled?
Well, they look impressive to me, but I've never seen any other bull sperm. They're not.
Visually, you won't see any difference. There is no way to find any difference between the bovine, the equine, and the other species now.
Right.
What's different about modern genetically modified foods is the speed and precision with which we can make changes. Now, instead of selectively breeding for traits, we can go directly to the DNA responsible, snip it out, and transplant it into newly developing plants and animals. If these snippets come from the same species, scientists call the new organism cisgenic. Cis means the same. But if the DNA comes from a completely different plant or animal, scientists call the new organism transgenic. Trans means to cross. Those fluorescent pigs, they glow green because they contain a gene from a luminescent jellyfish. And in the last 20 years, we've begun to see the food equivalent. Corn that makes bacterial toxins poisonous to pests, tomatoes that make the antifreeze proteins from fish, and even cows that produce human milk.
So what's the big fucking deal? What's up?